Here's a classic question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? Mine would be to revise faster. Just kidding, obviously. But I think you'd agree it would be decent to be able to get things done faster whilst hitting the books and have more time for other stuff. So here are 7 ways you can revise faster. The first thing you can do to revise faster is work backwards. Let's say, for example, you need to revise a topic in biology. The first thing you should do is get the mark scheme for a previous biology exam paper and find where questions on this topic have been asked before. Then identify the key terminology the correct answers use and highlight the terms if that helps. Then take a look at the questions on the past paper to understand how the answers were arrived at. Highlight some of the keywords in the question if that helps. The next step working backwards would be to refer to your syllabus or subject specification because it will list other context points you need to know about the topic which could come up in your exam. Then check out your revision guide or textbook to fill in the gaps in your understanding by taking bullet pointed notes on the topics mentioned in the syllabus or specification. Finally, after you've written your notes, give yourself a quick test using active recall techniques. The reason this works is because you ensure you're revising information starting with the way examiners want to see it, as opposed to what makes most sense to you when you start by taking notes from a textbook or a revision guide. You're beginning with the end goal front of mind, and your revision will therefore be more targeted on what's relevant and what's actually going to be marked as correct in the exam. The second way you can revise faster is to give yourself a quick test at the end of every revision session. Don't just write notes, highlight the words, and reread those notes. Studies have been done to show that by just giving yourself a quick practice test after a revision session, recall was improved by as much as 15%. By having a test immediately after a study session, you're making your revision more efficient as you'll retain more of it the first time over. Continue to test yourself over time, and the information will become more and more consolidated in your long-term memory. The third way you can revise faster is to see your revision sessions as a series of sprints.
Oh, they're away, and Gatling got away brilliantly, and he's ahead of the field at the moment. And
Try using the Pomodoro technique. Set a timer for 25 minutes and focus on just one revision task. Then take a 5-minute break and start another 25-minute session, and so on. This is a great way to get started with a revision session because it helps you break the subject material into smaller chunks, and it provides a fixed amount of time for you to work with. Number 4. This one's a little twist on the Pomodoro technique, and it's about your momentum. The Pomodoro technique is great for getting started, but what we really want to be doing is building up our momentum so we can do this.
Bolt going very near, comes Usain Bolt! Usain Bolt storming through, he takes it again, Blake gets the silver, 9.6!
Oh, sorry, If you get to 25 minutes and you're like, yeah, I'm feeling good, this is going rather well, don't take a break. Make the most of the momentum you have and work for as long as you have it. Then take a break when you need to. This way you'll be able to get your revision done faster because you'll be spending more time in a flow state, which is when you're most able to get your best work done. The fifth way you can revise faster is to switch up the revision techniques you use each time you revise. This applies for both note-taking and self-testing. For example, for note-taking, you could rotate between making mind maps, writing bullet points under topic headings, and creating flashcards. For testing techniques, you could answer questions you've written out on paper in one revision session. You could then try to write everything you can about the same topic in another. And then, whilst you're walking around another day, listen to a recording of you saying the questions and then answer them aloud verbally. Good news for you, talking to yourself with headphones in is far more socially acceptable than it used to be. People are talking on the phone, leaving voice notes, or making TikTok videos in public the whole time. I could even do the rest of this video with these in, and it would be okay. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, the term used for what I've just described is called interleaved practice. Scientists have tested this on sports people and musicians and have proven it's a way of learning many different things faster. One theory as to why it works so well is because each practice attempt is slightly different from the last, so rote responses don't work whilst memory associations are strengthened. The sixth way to revise faster is to prioritize coverage of topics over detail to begin with. This means you'll work your way through what you need to know for your exams faster because you're more concerned about getting through the information rather than agonizing over every little detail. You can then use a follow-up revision session to cover the more detailed bits you didn't understand the first time. This approach has additional benefits other than making you revise faster. You end up reviewing the information more often, which interrupts the forgetting curve and enhances the opportunity to build your long-term memory. You're also practicing thinking and working fast, which is going to be handy for any exam. And you're quickly getting a sense of what you do and what you don't know, and this way you can be way more targeted in revising what you actually need to revise. And finally, the seventh way you can revise faster is to get interested in what you're revising. I know an exam revision session isn't exactly Monday night footy or an absolute corker of a night out, but if you can find even just a small interest in something, learning the information is going to be so much easier. This is because once we've acknowledged something might be useful to us in the long term, it's easier to find the required motivation to get down to work. Check out this clip.
Let me give you one example. Reed College at that time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards.
Think about how the dots might connect for you looking backwards. You might be surprised at what will come in handy in 10 years' time. To conclude, you want to be balancing speed and accuracy in your studies. You don't want to be going through things so fast you're understanding and retaining none of it. Try to find an optimum where speed is prioritized just a little more than the details so you make great headway. Then use repeat revision sessions to tie together the loose ends.
That's how winning is done!
If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a like down below. Any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. If you want more videos like this on exam preparation, smartphone management, and career planning, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm checking out.